There we go. Hey guys. I'm trying a new thing where I have music in the background. If you guys just give me a heads up on whether it's too loud or too soft. I was playing with it earlier, and I think I got it right, but it's hard to tell from the other side of the screen. So if you guys hear any of that, I got my chat up on my other computer, so just type it in, so that I can read it. So it's just stuff in the background, just for kicks. Sounds like in a shopping mall. Well, that's not necessarily bad. So yeah, I was tinkering with it just for a little bit to see if I can get everything kind of even out the way that I want it to be. But yeah, we'll just we'll play with it and see see what it's doing. So I just wanted to jump on. I don't do a lot of live streams. Just not really a thing that I do a lot. But I just wanted to come on here and tinker with some stuff. I'm playing with a design for Novice, or Novus, sorry. And kind of tinkering with different ideas. I don't have a solid graphic that I had to take from, but I ended up designing this piece in a couple of other programs. I put some stuff together, so I think most of it I like, but like I don't know, like I don't think I like all of it. Like as I zoom down on this, all these little like tears and stuff on the edges of the leaves, I don't like it, because that will end up not turning out correctly when I go to 3D print this. So I might have to get a different graphic, or edit the meshes on these leaves to get rid of all this extra material or something. But the rest of it turned out really good. Like this one, the V I'm pretty happy with, because all of the dings and stuff that you see in it are big enough that it makes sense to the style. So I'm pretty happy with that part, and I think that if I really had to cut this piece apart, that I would keep this, fix the spacing on the right hand side a little bit more, and then get rid of this part. I like this setup better. This is obviously a lot bigger. This is not going to be as tall. It's going to be about yay tall. That I like looking at this stuff, and when I 3D print this edge is going to show up, and it's going to put a really neat effect on it. So that's what I was looking out for, the bottom part of it. So the top part, I was gonna try to see if I could fix this, because I can individually turn these. What I didn't like about this, as I zoom down, is that these aren't close together as much as I want them to be. I want these pieces to be much more closer together, and I can do that if I do the letters individually. I can put them right next to each other and then arc it across in a better space than what I have right here. So I had imported this piece in just to use as a reference, and I'm going to basically replicate parts of this, and then I'll kind of build up the thing on what I was thinking that I wanted to do. That I know that some of this stuff, like how these parts right here are not connected, I want them all connected all the way up, and I'll show you guys here in just a little bit on what my original idea was, and I'll get you guys' input on what you think I should do. So let's jump into some of this stuff, and you guys can kind of just hang out and see how I make this stuff. Do I want to do it individually, or do I want to? Let's try this. Okay. And if I do. See, I like this style much better because they're basically touching in a lot of the spaces on the side here. I'm sorry if I keep moving the screen around. The way that my brain works when I'm designing this is I want to see it from all different angles. So that's why I keep moving the screen around. Yeah, I think it looks much better. I took the design. There are more laurel leaves than wheats, because Novus, that is his logo, is the laurel restyle. So I'm trying to keep most of the design together that is reflective of his logo. So in this setup, I can't angle the individual in this setup. But so here's where stack the stars. To find stack the stars. I'm curious now. Stack the stars. Oh, stack them as in like put one up and then two down, so it makes like a triangle. What's up, Shane? Yeah, these stars right here. Yeah, I'm gonna play with some different ideas, but again, this is Novice's logo, and I want to try to stay as true to logo as possible. But here's kind of the rough piece, the rough idea that I was looking at. So I'm just gonna build this box out real quick. This is gonna be a quick and dirty on what I was kind of thinking. Yeah. Okay, so I need to do this. So something like this, only with, I want And again, this is really just quick, and it's not going to be, you know, super fancy. Hey, Paul. Miss Paula. Something. Okay, let's see, how do we want to do this? Yeah. Something like this. And then duplicate that and put it on this side. Okay, so the bottom part, I wanted to look something like that, or some effect to that. I kind of wanted the Novus to sit on this lower part. So if I just had, actually, let's just do this. Let's do, I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna do N-O, oops. There we go. Come on. N-O-V-O-R-U-S. So my idea on this, I want this big though. And again, this part of the design is like the rough part. But I was playing with the idea. See, I don't like. Zoom down. There we go. So something like this, and this Novus piece is going to be on the bottom. And like maybe it sits a little bit higher. And then the stacker piece, if I copied this, I made this smaller, and I put it at okay, so here's kind of what I was thinking. So the Novus piece is going to be down here on the top part of the base. The stacker with the stars are going to be on this lower section. That needs to be... So Novus is going to be on the top part. The stacker and the stars are going to be underneath to retain the design elements. And then so it will be this laurel wreath but it's going to be touching, like it's going to be much closer in a circle, so that the MMXV III is actually going to touch between. I can actually show you. Just give me a copy of this. And give me a 90 degrees. Oops. Give me 90 degrees. And I'm gonna move it up. I'm gonna move it back. Okay. Yeah, it's looking better. Okay. So if you guys can imagine this lower wreath being closer together, and it's actually touching. Something like that. What do you guys think? Take this box. I'm gonna put this right here in the middle. Need it that wide. I need it wider on this side. That's gonna make it disappear. Yeah. So something like that. Hey Laura. So this is like the quick and dirty version of this, but that was kind of my original idea on what I wanted it to look like. That's kind of where I was going with it, just because I like the idea. I think it's unique that it stands up like this, and how I would print this is I would print probably a slot in the top of this box part, and then print this wreath laying down with like a box insert, so that it's all pretty solid one piece, and I would just insert it and glue it into place. But I think with especially these elements, the bevels, and really complements the stars. I don't like this wreath though. I need a cleaner wreath part. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there anything that you would change? Like I'm keeping some of the main elements of his logo together, but I can't print them free floating, because obviously there's nothing for them to to attach to. But that's why I was kind of thinking this. The NO and the US will be smaller than the V. It'll look like like the previous version, only to be down lower, and that will really set that V apart. So I mean, the V can even be a giant, like a giant piece. I wonder if I can copy this. Just give me a V. Something like that. Something like that, so it really stands out and it takes some of this. Like, it doesn't have to be that tall, but, you know, it could be like that tall. I think that would look pretty cool. Just so it's got all of the main elements together, you know, and it's still... The only problem with that, Harold, is that I could put it across here. But I would have to print this, like, connecting on to both sides of it. I mean, I could, but I think that's still taken away from the aesthetic of the design, because that's where he has that part of the logo. If I put it down, oh, hold on, don't go anywhere. If I put it down here, and I guess that, you know, the Laurel things could attach to each other, but see, the only thing to me is that maybe it'll look better with different leaves, but I don't know. It makes this middle piece like become like the focal point instead of this part right here, instead of the Novus part. But let me see if I can find a better wreath. Go like somewhere like up there, not all the way at the top, but like mostly at the top. I think either way I have to find better wreath designs. So let's take a look down just a little. That. I think the placement of the top piece is going to really be dependent on the laurel wreaths, the laurel pieces that I have, and I do want this curved, so that it flows. It flows in the total round, like the round design, I guess. But still, the thing is that I don't want to completely take apart the logo that he has, when his logo has that part at the top, because it's an asset piece. It's not a main focus piece. And when you put something like this down in the middle of a design, then you're making that a main focal piece, and I want the main focal piece to be down here. But all that might change with some different laurels. So let's see if we can find a simpler laurel piece that is all connected, and that has something that's got all of the laurel pieces connected, because that's going to be the biggest thing. And I want the other thing, and I need to find, is that I need to have these leaves so that they are. Hey, Alden. So they are. How do I describe that? So they're more in the V shape instead of like actual leaves. So I was trying to find something that now if I found one that the pieces weren't connected, I could even go in and hey Amanda, and connect all the pieces together. So that I mean, if it really came down to that, then I could at least modify it to, you know, more about, you know, the piece, you know, the type of piece that I'm looking for. But I wanted something that is at least close to connecting on the top, because aesthetically it looks, I feel like it looks better than having an open, because for me it makes it feel unfinished. So, and I guess that's why that, depending on the Laurel design, I would rather have this piece that finishes out the top of the design. So yeah, that's what I was kind of looking at. Let's see. So now the issue is just to find a. See, that's not bad. That's connected too. Yeah, that's not bad. What about this one? Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna try this one. Oh, that's an S. I need an SVG. Okay, give me 1 second. I need to hop open another thing here. I use a combination of programs to accomplish some of these tasks that I'm doing right now. One of them is obviously the CAD program is actually Tinkercad. It's free to use. It's free to use. The other ones that I use are called Inkscape and Blender. I use Inkscape to be able to import some of the graphics parts and then transform them into, you know, some of the pieces that I need. Needs to be Frovis on the top. Let me get this. Let's do Laurel 2. So let's see if this is gonna do it for me. We'll try to import. We'll try to do Laurel 2 SVG. Just the art. Let's see what this does. Let's see if I can pull this, just the design element into. No, it's not going to do it. Okay, so I got to do it on my other program. That's fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open Blender. It's on the back side where you guys don't see it. Is that? I guess the other thing I should worry about is, yeah, no, that doesn't have a background. So I'm basically going to take that that picture, and basically where all the black is, that is going to be the element that I'm going to extrude. So, which means that basically I'm going to take a 2D object and then make it, extrude it into 3D. And this didn't import anything. Okay, so I've got to trace. So I think it's my... I think it's actually my program that is actually creating those elements. In the back. Make a second one for it says Frovis on it. That's good. Okay, so I got that piece. So I get this piece, and hopefully that's going to be clean enough. And then I need to export that as Laurel 2, and then go on to Blender. And now I'm going to import that SVG file, and hopefully my piece will come in. And it did. Awesome. Okay, so let's convert it to transform origin to geometry. And I'm gonna move it so that I can play with it. And then I need to scale it up. My curves, okay. Sorry, so when I imported it, it created kind of multiple layers of it. So I'm picking out one, and then expanding it so that I can turn it into a 3D object. So I'm just gonna extrude it a little bit. And then I'm going to export it as an STL. Let's do the Laurel. And then with that exported, I will have a okay. So let's come back in here. And now let's import the updated version. It is just the Laurel. And see if we can pull it in. I do want to thank everybody for coming into this live stream. I usually do most of this kind of stuff really late at night or early in the morning. Just because that's that's kind of how my brain works, and I roll with it. And I have a notebook that I have put notes in, and I write down anything that comes to me, as far as designs or ideas or anything, anything like that. So I always reference my notebook, because sometimes there will be something in there that I think of later. I'm like, hey, this will actually work for something else. So I know I've done some logos for some of the people already in the coin community, but if you guys want a logo, just hit me up on email, and we could talk about what you're looking for. And you're doing both. Oh yeah, I guess for some people, yeah. It's only 9:25 here. So this is still just regular evening for me up here. So, but I get into these I don't even know what you call them. Like, just these sessions, and they'll go on until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be sitting here doing designs or something, till the break of dawn, just because if I'm already in that thought, then I'm gonna keep going. Okay, hey, that didn't actually turn out too bad. So let's make this thing ginormous. Make it super thick. Make it really big. Let's make this thing go real big. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Working 24/7. That's the truth, Lincoln. For real. All right. So what we got here? So this is another one that I picked up. And here's kind of the. I need a lion sitting on top of a stack of gold bars, wearing a crown. Honestly, I could probably do that. I'm pretty sure that I could do that. So I like this laurel pattern a lot better. It's connected by all the pieces are connected by this center ring. And the other thing I can do is that if I don't think that it's going to be big enough, I can actually create a bigger ring to just kind of fill in this space a little bit more. So to create like a space that's maybe twice as big. It's not quite the full like V that I got there, but I like this one. So let's play with the overall design, and just see kind of where this is gonna put us at. So if we make this piece go away, I'll put it over here so I don't lose it. Can you make 3D animals? I can. There are some models that I can find of 3D animals. There are stuff that I can import into the programs that I'm using. Ooh. I think that might actually be too big. Oh, there we go. Oh, I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's pull this up up front here so I can... Let me get rid of this. I want this all front and center right here so I can play with it. Okay, so in this design, I want this to be... This needs to be more centered. Okay, so that's centered. And then this piece... So on this one, I think I would rather have this piece kind of sit not at the top, but just below the top. What do you guys think of that? I kind of like that. So, but I feel like that I want this curve, so I may have to just build that, because having this straight right here is just it doesn't work with me. Like I like having that curve, even if they were, you know, I would have to put the letters like touching, or have like a curve that they sit on that, you know, gets blended into the top of this so that it curves around. So let's do that. Let's just see what we can accomplish here. CJ, it's cool, but you're going to give Novus the big head. Well, the thing is that, like, you know, I don't mind doing this stuff because, like, I can't art like on paper. I can't. But I can put something on a computer. Yes and no, Sir Gold. I could, like, if I found, like, there's a couple of ways I can do it. It would take me a little while to do it though. But one of the things that I had already thought about was taking half of these leaves down, so that they would be like raised in the middle, and then as they faded out, they actually drop down. So that this design right here, well, actually, I can show you. Again, this is gonna be rough, and like 4 shades of ugly, but this is just one of those things that I had the idea of. Okay, stop. See if I can get it down to 1 leaf only. Maybe this one right here. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see this very well. But how it angles down and away versus being flat. I had thought about that. Some of the textures are kind of hard. Because the more texture that I put into it, the longer it's gonna take to print. If by doing this, it cuts off some of the print time. and it would give it a little bit more three-dimensional look. Like I would have it right, right across where the stem is, so that it extends from the stem and then out towards the edge of the leaf, going both ways, so that this middle stem part was basically the relief, the high end of the relief. That was kind of my idea with with the leaves. I write computer programs for metalwork for CNC machines is the only art I can do. I would love to play with a CNC machine. In effect, my 3D printer is very similar to the CNC machines because they have tool paths. They have what's called G code, that basically just tells them what to do. And my program, the slicer program that takes the design and then sends it to my 3D printer, that's what that slicer does, is it takes that design and it makes layers out of it. So something that's this big, depending on, like, if I had to print this in like one single piece, just as it sits, it would probably be 1,000 to 1,200, 1,500 layers. I did one piece that is a stand, and the stand itself is about 6 to 8 inches tall, and that thing had like 1,300 layers to it. And a lot of it depends on how tall my layers are, and depending on what I'm doing, like if I'm prototyping something, I'm gonna have a really thick layer, and like I'll maybe run a 0.3 millimeter layer height. If I'm doing something really finite, where I want a lot of detail, I'll drop it down to like 0.1, 0.08, 0.06, and that's when you get the really fine detail. Because you think about your piece of paper, that everybody has. Your piece of paper is going to be about 0.4, 0.1 to 0.4 millimeters thick. Now imagine if you took that half of the thickness of a piece of paper, and stacked up those layers, cutting out the same shape, and then stacking them up. So that's basically what this machine does. So I do want this. I still feel like that I want this curved, because just the straight across right there just really kind of irks me. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to make a cylinder. Stop. That is about the same size as the piece that I'm going to work on. And what this is going to do for me, that I needed an actual circle. What this is going to do for me is that this is going to give me a template on how the letters are going to curve, instead of just sending them, wildly on wherever that they're gonna go. And I actually started doing this a while ago because of how many issues that I had with making sure things were correct. Okay, so this is going to be the rough, and this is a great outline. I mean, it fits really nice. So this 90 by 90 circle right here is exactly what I want to use as my base. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay it back down. And then I'm gonna make it as almost as flat as I can. So when I put the letters on, I can see them individually. Actually, do I have... I might have curved letters already. Let me find. Ah, curved words. Here we go. I forgot that I had that one. X I. Okay, do I have a... I don't have a text thing that I want. Okay, that's what I was worried about. That the text is gonna be off, because it's gonna be a basic text and it's not going to be the same the same style as what I want. So I am gonna do these individually. So I'm gonna drop this down. And then I'm gonna flip it. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to put them like across. So I'm going to copy and paste this for my second letter, and then paste that for my other letters. So it needs to be MMXV, MMX. Come on. X. And copy that. V. And then copy that. And then I. And so this way, I can actually just duplicate those and I have all three of my letters right there. This reminds me of my old sign painting days when I first started the would want the lettering to curve. I'd be like, oh no, another one. So I'll put the letters just kind of in a basic pattern, and just see where I can make them fit together. The X and the V can be pretty close together because they're gonna be kind of the center of. So I know that's rough and that looks like hot garbage right now, but I only need a little bit of curve on the V. Like 5, and I'll do 5. So if I put the letters together like this, then I can print them actually as one piece, and they'll stay connected right here. So if I put that, I got some finer. Okay, so this one's gonna be 10. This one's gonna be 15. This one's gonna be 20. Okay, so some of this I'm gonna have to kind of change around because my settings are just a little bit funky. But let's play with these and see what we can do. So I've been playing with my measurements that are relatively big, my snap grid, so that I can actually play with the letters and put them together a lot more. Man, does that look ugly, or is that just me? That's not just me. That thing looks ugly. Oh, man. That just looks ugly. But I mean, it's not really that bad. It just looks like hot garbage. Okay. So we're gonna put it together and we're gonna see what it looks like, because I'm kind of curious now. Maybe if I put it together with the rest of the elements, then it won't look like garbage so much. No, it still looks like garbage. Well, what are you doing? X is the center since M's take up so much space. So I need to center the X. You must have a lot of patience. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's patience or if it's just, wanting to make sure that I get it right, and like a little bit of a perfectionist in that respect. God, that's close. That is darn close. What if I... What if I do that? Too far which way? Like, what still bothers me is that the V actually sits lower than the rest of this, and that's what is really throwing me off right now. Because like I can see this from like half a mile away, and I can see this. So it's these pieces, these small elements that that really just drive me nuts. Because I can see them. I can see them so far away. So let's try to do this in the center. See, I like this because it holds the curve. We can drop it down a little bit. Kind of inset it into something like that. Oh, don't do that. What about that? That's so close. So close. What do you guys think of that? In this setup, yes. The pieces do have to be touching each other. So, like, the bottom of the two M's touch each other. The M and the X touch each other. The X and the V touch each other on the top. The V on the I on the top, and then the three I's on the bottom. Because when I print this out, I'll print this out just as one solid piece, and that will keep the structure together much better than having them not touching. I can glue them together, but it's not the same. So let's dump this. Let's make this. I want to grab the. I was really happy with how that. Oh, excuse me. How this piece in particular turned out. So let's try to grab that piece out of it. And by doing that, I can put that on. So this is. Yeah, whenever I'm doing some kind of design that is going to be anything that I'm printing, I always have to worry about where the elements are, because I have to be able to print them in a certain way. Otherwise, like, the letters will fall off. So what I'm doing is I'm cheating a bunch instead of just pulling out this individual piece out of the graphic. I am basically creating negative boxes, which will pull this design out for me. So that I don't have to do it. because I'm a cheater like that. And I've done that. I've done that before on some other projects, especially on stuff that is like really complicated. It saves me some time and some heartache than having to redesign an entire element when I can just pull out the individual element that I actually need, like this. Exchanging places of the date and the stars. But again, the only problem that I would have of that is that is changing the orientation of of the logo, because his logo has the data on the top and then stacker and then the stars on the bottom. If I were to change that, then that would not be consistent with his logo. So I'm gonna dump that. So now this could be interesting because this is in a few pieces, or this is got the higher point right here on the middle piece. So let's push this back here and just see where we want it to. Let's bring all this up front so that we can see it a lot better. Okay. The date will be attached to via Novus. Oh, I don't know. We could play. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. It wanted stop. 3 dimensions. 3 dimensions is sometimes hard to play with. That would be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? That's kind of an interesting setup. I might change this V and pull it out by itself. And then what would I do with the NO and the US? That would be the only problem. Is that there's nothing to hold to free float those points. Yeah, I kind of like that V. I think that V looks good if I can pull it all together like that. But I need. Yeah, the N, the O, and the US. There's something that still needs to happen because they can't free float. That's why I was thinking that this actual piece will be sitting on this platform down here. Because then it's got somewhere to hold on to. With it just free floating, there's no way. Yeah, I could do that. I could put the stacker and the stars across and have them basically just sitting on top of these leaves. Another thing that I thought about is same concept as the letters of having that wouldn't necessarily be completely outside the logo element, but to have the date and then stacker on the north and south side of the circle, and then those elements would fit inside, inside the top and bottom of the circle, and then the stars like across the front, um, and have Novus like sitting on top of that. See, and like that's that's exactly the point of how I get into these sessions that are, that can go until 5 or 6. I've had a couple of them go until like um 5 or 6 in the morning, just because that I have my rough idea of how I want it to work, but then like I can't get any of the parts to work how I want it to. Um, but so another idea is the same thing, only have let's do this. What we're gonna do is that I'm going to basically make a copy of this whole element, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the stacker off. I might just dump those completely. I'm gonna take the stacker off. I want this all one color, so I'm gonna group this together, and this will be gray, I think. We're just gonna push that into the corner. It's gonna go sit in a corner where it needs to think about what it did wrong. So then I need to take this piece and move it into this space. And then my 3 stars, I want to group them together. See, the another like side effect of having a logo like this, um, is that with the front of this designed how it is, what I could do is that I could actually cut out basically a box, and the bottom part of this would be big enough um to put business cards in. So if you guys wanted something like this, to have, to put business cards in, then that could still be an option. Um, let's see. So there is the option of having the stars down low. We'll say, down here. And then with stacker sits low. Oh my gosh. 3 dimensions. Harder than it looks. something like that, and then have like the NOUS sit on top of stacker. But yeah, Mike, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, if I had this front piece, um, um, the front piece open, that could be a great like business card holder right there. Like you can even design a box that comes straight out, and not angled like this. And I mean, there's lots of different options that you could do. Look at the other way, better with stars under Novus. So then have stacker out. So take Novus and make it small again. Move the stars up. Put them into here. I'm not sure how they would fit. I could lean them together to make them fit or something, um, but the problem that I still have is that I still have floating letters. I have to have something that is holding those letters together. Mounting the date on a ribbon, but leave it on the top where it's at. With the stars on the base, it doesn't make the base look blank looking right. See, I like on this one how the stacker on the stars. Okay, so let me put this down, and I'll just leave that there for right now. See, the only thing I don't like now is now. Yeah, I know what you mean, Mike. But to me, a date would be when something had started, not not when it finished. Because like any dates that you see on things are always established dates or since dates. Those are all starting dates. There's nothing, nothing finished. The thing that I have a problem with on for this is that there's so much stuff going on inside, and that still does not solve my floating letters issue. So so like the where I put like on the front, I feel like it looks better with the stacker and the stars on the bottom. But man, this how do I solve? I mean, the way that he has it in his logo is that it's floating right um right in the middle. Like, one thing that I could do is I could just make it so big that it takes the entire space um inside, you know, inside this. Like, the V takes up, like, the V goes all the way down to the bottom, and it basically just holds. um what about that? What about this? It's gonna be a long shot. Ready for this? I'm gonna do text. Okay, text. I'm gonna do. We're gonna play a game. We are gonna play a game. Clear plastic strip, like what? Can you be more specific? Another thought that I just had is that I would have this a fat bevel, and I would have one segment. And then I'm going to raise it up, and I'm going to put it all the way into here so that it takes over the bottom. And it takes over the top. Imagine a line in the middle of novus going to each side of the wreath. Then two novus has a Spanish background, and they do put things in order different from ours. So here's kind of the other thing that I was thinking, just off the top of my head. And this is, again, this is just a really basic idea, but O space U, and then S, and the S needs to be capital. I don't know if I have to put that many spaces in it. So let's do bevel. Let's do, make this 90. Ooh. Put this in the center here. What about something like that? Where's my front? What about something like that? I don't know if you guys can see all this. This red kind of... just overpowers here. I mean, I could do something, I
Something similar to what I did with lemons, where there is like a single layer of like a just one, like 1 or 2 layers that go across the middle, just on the back, so that when I printed it, it stayed pretty much in place. I mean, so if we did that here, so I would do copy of this. um, but it wouldn't be plexiglass. It would be like just a thin piece of whatever color that I was printing this on. But I mean, for the sake of being what it is, if we just did a thin line, let's do 1 millimeter is going to be actually too big, but for the sake of I would probably print it at like 3. I would go all the way over here. Basically, it would look like that. So that this piece is basically going to be the structure of this. So if I was to print this out on move this over, and do that right there. So if I was gonna print this piece out, the wreath part out, as just a single piece in like say gray, then that's basically what it would look like. Would be that. What do you guys think about that? I would stack her at the same radius as the date under Novus and the stars under it all. The only thing is that puts a lot of detail items um, um, in the middle, like in the middle of the circle. So there are too many. I don't have any clear plastic to utilize for this. If I was printing this out, this is what it would look like. But if I put like everything inside the circle, there would be too much elements when you have a circle element right here. Then the first place that people are going to look is whatever the biggest thing is inside that element. So right here, it's going to be the V. I would like this to sit a little bit lower. Stars don't have to be in the circle; they get spread across the wreath. But then again, you're changing the logo that he already has. And I'm trying to. I don't want to recreate a completely different logo. I mean, it's got the same elements, but when you put them in a different order or you change the design, then like I don't like redoing somebody else's logo that they have already come up with. I don't as a designer, I don't feel like that's not my place. Can you shape the piece to go with the contours of the letters? I'm not sure what you mean. Thanks for coming in, Lincoln. Appreciate it, man. Have a good night, buddy. I guess I don't understand what you mean by it, that it conforms to the letters. If it conforms to letters, then they're still not connected. They have to be connected. Otherwise, you would have like this point that connects to like the straight edge to the S, and then a piece that comes across to the bottom of the U and the S, and then the top of the U to the V. And the only problem with that is that then you have it wouldn't be going through the openings. Well, but if I have this say lower, we'll do this. So it's not going through the openings like that. Then what the problem is that now you have a lot of material, and that this space right here, however thick that this bar is going across when you print it, this now becomes the weak point, and these can break off if this bar going across is not strong enough. I mean, yeah, I can absolutely print it like that. I can print it however I want. And the whole reason why that I made this bar go all the way to the stems is that because if this bar goes just to this leaf, now this leaf right here is now a weak point. When I put it all the way across, it reinforces the lateral on this leaf, so that it reinforces this leaf to the rest of the design. So specifically, that's why I did it like that. Adjust the font to spread to the sides of the wreath and as little of the letters touching each other. Could you get away with that? Adjust the font to spread to the sides of the wreath and as little of the letters touching each other as possible. something like that. Oh, I oh, okay. Let's try this. So we're gonna make a duplicate of this, and we're just gonna send him back. And we are going to make him smaller, or thinner, but just a hair bigger. I would probably have to do that in another program. Oh my gosh. Come here. Okay, number one, you need to be much thinner. So let's do this. Just for the sake of being able to see this guy, let's do dark. And then we are going to make him both bigger and bigger. And this will be the only problem with the outline piece, though, is that, yeah, the letters would go together, but then the letters are still not touching. I would still have to have a bar going through, going through the entire thing to connect the pieces. Like, I mean, I could take this thing and make the, I'll call it a shadow. The shadow. Let's do it like this. Let's do it like this, because having it in the middle of the air is just not working out. So let's do it like this. Let's do, I'm going to copy, nope, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to lay this flat. Then I'm going to put this all the way down on the ground. And I'm going to duplicate this. And I'm going to make this. Like, I could have something like an outline. You know, just the letters. I would have to do basically each individual piece and then make it bigger so that these outlines are touching each other. Wonder how much gap that would give me. Trying to see how much overlap that I have. Let's see. Let's merge these two together. Well, actually, I mean, weak point is going to be right here with the O. But if the V is attached on the top, then that's not going to be an issue. Weak point with the S. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a weak point right here. This, I mean, a little bit, but I mean, there's a lot of different points that are connecting, so there's not going to be a lot of strain. But significant weak point is going to be right here on the S. This I'm not worried about because there's lots of stuff touching that. If I do it like that, because that's going to give me, it's going to give me more on the top and bottom of that S. I lost my O though. I can see a gap right there. I lost my O. Let's take a look at the S and see if we can't. Yeah, I got plenty of pieces touching the S. So the S is going to be good. The U is going to be weak unless I can have this U over the top. I think you guys might be onto something. If I go wide like that, what about that? What about that? What is that going to give me? I kind of like the expanding expanding, what do you call it, shadow thing though. That's kind of an interesting idea. If I printed this piece by itself, without being connected to, if I did this piece by itself, outside of this piece, I might be able to do that. Otherwise, I would have to find out which layer that this piece is and stop my printer right there and then change to filament color. Because mine only does one color at a time. Let's change this into okay, so I got connections right here on the O. I think this is probably going to be the only weak point, is just right here on the U. And that's, I can't get away from that. Hey, what do you guys think of that? That's kind of a neat piece. Because the one I did for like lemon is I just had all of this this stuff in the back, and it was just It was basically all of the outlines of the letters and then everything in it just filled in. So if I printed the drop shadow, like this piece back here, the drop shadow and the wreath piece all in one color, I could glue the top letters on top of it. Otherwise, I would be better printing all of this piece just as a single piece. Yeah, because basically what I would do is I would take this. Here, I'll show you. I would duplicate this. This one goes back here. This one comes up here. And then I would take these two items. And to get, if I'm going to use this design, then what I can do is I can drop this down so that if I know that it's going to go right there, I would just connect the two pieces. So that I have a single piece that I'm printing out. And then I have the top part. Pull this apart, drop this, delete that. I would have this piece that I would print out separately and then put that over the top. So that I have all of the structure behind it and I already know where it's going to go. And all these would be separate pieces. But yeah, I could do that. And it would look like that. What do you guys think? Cut it slightly indented on the shadow piece so it would be the same as your drawing when you put them together. Yeah, I think tomorrow maybe I'll just print out some test pieces of these just in I've got gray on the printer right now. And just testing these two setups to see how much of a because if I have this piece and I glue this piece over the top, then I'll have an extra piece of plastic right here to reinforce. Because right now the weakest point of my entire thing is right here, right where the U connects to the V. And if I have another piece that's right on top of it and it's gluing across it, then I'm gonna have a stronger bond right there, and I wouldn't be so worried about stress points. But I think I'll print this out tomorrow, and just see what it looks like and see how it's all going together. And just try it out, I think, is what I'm gonna do. But then this piece, with the rest of it, I would print out the laurel and the date as one piece, and then I would print it with a slot in the center of the box, and that would just sit in there, and I would epoxy that in, and then all of this stuff I just print all as one one piece. Video of the printing. or as I'm putting the pieces together. And the other thing I was just thinking about is if I had the finished product. Yeah, I'll definitely do a video on it. Are you kidding me? That's half the fun. With this drop space right here with these two pieces right here, I could actually use that and basically glue it onto the back of of the of the date right here. I could have it set in like this, so that it's not all the way flush. Um, and then, hey Cindy, and then glue it onto the back of the logo right here, so it actually free floats, just right here in the center, just like that. That could be interesting. That could be very interesting if I just glued the top of the W right behind the date here, and then it free floated right in the middle, just like it would be in that. And what would be holding it up would be the drop shadows. Thanks, Cindy. I'm just playing around with the designs. It's really kind of funny how something can evolve as you come across different pieces. Like especially like I showed you guys what my really rough basic idea was, and then it evolved into something like this. And then I was like, well, here's another idea, and then here's where it's evolving to that it's gonna be something like this, up in the center here. And it just depends on like what kind of things that what kind of issues I come across as as the design process happens, um, and how things change. Oh, that looks freaking cool. Oh, come back, come back, come back, come back. What do you guys think of that? Because then I can print the date, the drop shadow, and the wreath all as one piece. Print this out in a different color, and weld it on top. Yeah, that looks way cool. I like that. So this piece right here would be a different color. So this piece would be, I don't know. I got red, so it's not the one I wanted. Yeah, that's no. Is that the one I wanted? What am I doing here? Where did... Oh, you know why. Yeah, that's right. So if I did... I need to split that. This color needs to be... We'll do... gray. I have lots of gray, but I have other colors. But I mean, just to see this as as kind of a different color. Something like that is a general idea of what it would look like. That's that's cool. That's a really really cool design. I like that. And there's going to be lots of structure, so I'm not worried about the structure in it. It's a double die, Cindy. Yeah. And actually, I could take this concept and make indentations in where the drop shadow is going to actually fit into the back, and print out that color in black because I do have black. So it would look something like this. But the only thing is that like both the black and the red are dominant colors, so that you almost lose some of this design. What about that? Yeah, the date does almost look lost. But the thing is that the way that this would come out, is that this wreath is not going to be like that big. And then the date can be a lot thicker so that it actually sits out more. No, these are just I don't have a lot of colors in right now. And my printer can only print one color. Um, so if all of these pieces are going to be different colors, I would have to figure out how they're all going to go together. I mean, um, I could separate out each piece and print each piece separately, and then glue it all together, using all of the different colors that I have. And I guess I could do that. So if I had, let's see, do I have green? I do have some green, but it's a lighter green. So if I was going to use a green, it would be a little bit lighter than that. Yeah, it would be a lighter color than that. I would probably keep. What would Novus think of a lightning bolt from Novus to Stacker and leave it to connect it to the date? Um, if if I set this piece up, like this, where the drop shadow is inset, um, then I wouldn't have to worry about having it connected. to anything else, because it would connect across the wreath, and the wreath is already going to be connected, um, because of the date. But that would be the next piece, is that once the final design was decided upon, then how I print these out is really going to be dependent on what colors that I use. I've got a number of colors, but I can't print two different colors at the same time. I would have to go through and basically cut out of the design where a different color is going to sit, and then do the opposite um, with like the date, and with the leaves, is that basically on the leaves I would have to make a negative space where the date's going to sit, and then on the date I'm going to have to make a negative space on where the leaves are going to sit, so that when I put them together that they all line up. And yeah, JC, I would have to do it in different stages. Ideally, I would like to print as much of this at one time, um, as I can, because especially when I print it out at one time, all of that structure is connected. When I have to start gluing stuff together, then that's where, like, I start getting kind of iffy. I could put posts on it, but then again, I'm into a lot more design elements where things can fail, because when I have just a snap, like post and hole, that snap piece becomes a weak point, and wherever there's a weak point, that's where it's going to fail first. So in anything that I design, I try to avoid the weak points as much as possible. I would love for everything to be, very very simple and just snap together, but the whole point is that when I put it together, it's not coming apart. So the date, I could print in gray or silver. I think I would probably do silver, or the base would be silver, because I do have it's called a silk color, and it looks metallic, and it's really kind of a neat. And I've printed with it before, and it turns out great. So I'll probably do the bottom in silver, because to my brain, it's silver, and then it would say Stacker on it. If you use the green, the Novus color would need something to stand out. Yeah. Um, but every time that I have an element, um, that is not consistent with everything that is around, then I have more pieces that I have to put together. So, but this is just, I don't know. It's uh, the black turns out really really dark. So probably red. Because also with this contrast, the date and Novus comes out to the foreground more. But I could also do it in gray or silver, which I can't really show a silver. I mean, my gray is this the just a plain gray plastic is just like this color down here. How to make a free-flowing design connect and make it strong as the part is hard to figure out. Yeah, and that's why that if I have elements that are connected, then I'm less worried about any weak points because the structure will support itself. But if I have to do the all of these different pieces in different colors, then I'm gonna have to do a lot more work. Basically making negative and positive areas in each design so that the pieces would go together. Stacker and the stars come out gray as well, the silver color you're talking about. I can do those in, this would be in silver. So it looks like that it would blend in here, but they would actually stand out a lot more on the silver. And the other thing is that this doesn't have to be this sharp, and by sharp I mean this tall. This can be a longer piece, and all of this, like, let me do this. Okay, I need to make this, needs to be gray. So we're gonna do, I want these pieces, oops, not move. Okay, stop doing funky things and only give me what I want. I want this piece, I want this piece, and I want this piece. I want this piece, I want this piece, and I want this piece. So that I could take this piece and actually make it longer and smaller, which is not a bad thing at all. And then take this design and lay it out more. Go back. Go back. And then go down. So something like that. Yeah, I was kind of thinking something like that, Mike. That I could do, especially to kind of fill up this space with something functional, because I love stuff that is both functional and like design wise. I love that. That makes me like the happiest person pretty much on the planet, because it's just how my brain works. So give me gray, and then give me drop down, give me something like that. So these stars need to come out more. Whoops. Give me stars, give me stars. Stars need to come out more. And then for like a quick and dirty version of this would be Um, would be do. Then I can drop the top down. Just like that. So in this, and like, obviously I would have to play with this design because I might have to put a bar, you know, for this to be deeper, or make this just deeper overall, to make it stand up a little bit more. But yeah, you can absolutely do that. Have a good night, Shane. Thanks for coming in. So ideally, I would love to have this piece go up to at least right there, because then that retains a lot of this space with the wreath. Let me put this down. I'm gonna put this, and this all together. And then I'm going to raise this up. And then I'm going to take this piece. I'm going to raise this up to go where I want it to go. And then all I have to do is change the angle for this. And then, okay, so I need to change it just a little bit more. And then, just like that. So that way, what about making stacker freestand on base, top with space in between wreath and stacker for cards? Oh, and leave the stars, but then again, these letters don't touch. You would have, some of these letters don't touch. So it would only be, well, no, okay, I see what you mean. Okay, let's do this. Let's try this. Do this. Do this. Do this. I want this to come out a little bit more. This needs to come out and meet up with that. And then stacker itself is going to come apart. It's going to go up. And this would be let's play with this. This is going to be go back. Put all these. Whatever size that that I wanted to print out. If this is going to be a business card slot, then it just all depends on. The only problem that I would have with stacker being up here is that if the scale. Oh, do you mean to have this up here? and have that behind. That's what I want. I want these. Like that. That wouldn't be too bad. And then have the stars bigger. Oops. What I wanted to do. Stop. Just small stars as like just accent. Something like that. Just thinking if it's a small pocket, then a pocket for the cards would be better to give it extra weight to avoid tipping over. Yeah. Yeah, but the other thing that I can do that I've been experimenting with is, especially if this piece and the base are printed separately, what I can do is I can actually create a cavity in this backspace and pause my printer while it's printing and fill this this interior cavity with weight. So like lead weights or something like that, or magnets, to put magnets in the bottom, so that it gives it that extra little bit of weight to counter even any of the any of the other things that you decide to do with it, so that the base itself becomes like its own paperweight basically. Yeah, because then if the base of it is weighted and I'm gluing those two things together anyway, then it won't matter, how big the top part is, because it's going to be weighed down. Put silver in it. If I had any silver to put in it, maybe, but yeah, and I could fill it up with like sand would be something good, because after I print it, like, you're not getting it back out unless you break it open. So something like that, just any kind of weight. It could be lead weight. It could be magnetic. It can be, it could be any number of things, just as a solid, as a solid weight. Larger, which way? Like that. Yeah, this little thought process is kind of evolved into into its own its own like monster. And the best part is that like if you are looking at this, so I want to get rid of these because why is that glued to something else? Okay. So that if you look at it like this, it looks almost exactly like his logo. I mean, other than the wreath is bigger and Stacker and the stars are inside the wreath, but otherwise that's his logo, and that's what I like is that it's still, you know, all like nearly exactly what his logo already is, and that's why I want to keep it to that aesthetic. So I would probably make the stars a little bit bigger, maybe space them out just a little bit, but um, just because that's the way that it works for me. I like that. That's cool. Magic, man. It's magic. Yeah, it looks good and it's functional, and that's what I really like about some of this stuff is that um like oh um uh is that when it looks good and it's functional, that's man, there's nothing better than that feeling is designing something and getting something and getting it out and it works and you're like this is awesome. Um yeah, and Sir Gold, you didn't drive me crazy at all. I There are often a lot of times where just that little bit, or a lot of extra input, can really help. Um, the a design process or really anything like this. I love designing stuff, and it's hard sometimes to find a balance between how I want it to look and how I have to do it to make it look like that. So I always appreciate um, any information that anybody else can bring to the table because clearly it works. I mean, everything about it, like there's plenty of structure. Like I'm not worried about anything breaking off. There's like maybe one weak point, but that's just what it is, and there's not much that I could do about that. But yeah, no, I really appreciate you guys helping me out, talking about it, giving me different ideas. I would like to do more of these live streams on the craft side. I do. I've been doing a lot of live streams. When I actually do live streams, more about the coins. I would like to get some other. I think I only have a couple of live streams or videos about the craft side of it, about some of this kind of stuff. Um, that I would like to do more of these because I think it's 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 almost like therapy. I mean, it really is because when you can get to a point where you go from okay, so here's my basic design idea to something either completely different or straight along the lines of what the original idea was, and having, you know, those extra pieces in there, that's the best feeling in the world. I'm glad your head doesn't hurt anymore. That makes me happy. And it's the other fact that it's a bunch of people that are working together. Um, do I even have my first one? Like this one? I mean, it's close, but I don't think I have my original one. I think I deleted all that one. But like, I could put this one next to it. This one looks like a caveman developed it, but you know, reasons. Um, but it's the community coming together and working, you know, and working for a better, you know, a better good, I'll say. And that's what I really enjoy, is seeing the community come together and do something. So I am going. This is awesome. Yeah, if I didn't keep it, it was doomed to start with. Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, and that's, you know, and that's just kind of in the process of that, as the idea develops. And that's why I always, like, you see me like making copies of stuff. Like, I got all my original stuff over here in the corner. um and and I make copies of it, because if I go off on a tangent and it just doesn't work out, then I'll delete that and I'll start over. But gotta put my brain to bed. It was a hard day. I know, right? Well, now you can completely understand why, like, when I get deep in these